No Wrong Holes, the title of the show, really came from me trying to make a statement about our own psychology and our own bodies. And so I think of my activity as an artist and as a teacher and as a writer and as a curator as all being the same and all being about us trying to come to a place in this world where we do not have to have shame about who and what we are. I think the thing that has remained consistent in my work all the way through is that I'm always trying to think about objects, and I identify as a sculptor very much because I think about the way that physical things, ideas, and the sort of movement back and forth between those things, between ideas and objects. And there's a fair number of like Bugs Bunny images in the show, and one of the things when I started generating these sort of rabbit pieces, I was asking myself, where did I encounter this image before? Why does this image seem resonant to me? And so I started thinking about Bugs Bunny and the way that Bugs Bunny is, again, a sort of liminal figure who often appears in drag. So there's a level of sort of gender confusion. Bugs Bunny is a sort of trickster gray rabbit, right? In between black and white. The videotape of the piece Gorge that is in the show. It's a piece where I am being fed by someone. And many times that piece is described as I'm being fed by a black man. Really kind of thinking about the fact that there are two black people on the screen. The question of who is on top, who is in charge, who is being subjected to this, who is serving who is running things. The sort of power dynamics in that are things that shift over the course of the hour. One of the pieces in the show, Ruins of a Sensibility, is my record collection, and my record collection isn't there so that people can look at it and marvel at it. It's there with a DJ setup so that people can make their own story out of all of the different records that I collected over the years. So it's a kind of model for how you make your own meaning out of these things that are that come to us as pop culture. Feeder 2 is very much an expression of this idea that I had of like, here's this thing that is in our minds from a very early age. We hear the story of Hansel and Gretel. I thought at the time of like, well, what would it be to like actually make that? To like actually like make that house. So there's a whole series of works using puppets in one way or another. And in one way you could say that the Untitled Pinocchio piece is a kind of cynical take on relationships, on it's like the thing that connects those two partners is how well they lie, right? Because the two Pinocchios are attached by a single nose that is quite long. Crossing Object was a performance where I wore this fursuit as my persona Nomen, who is a hybrid bison bear of sort of multitudinous genders. I wore a tray around my neck with a bunch of buttons in the tray, and the buttons all said, "Pick me up, tell me a secret, and pin me to Nomen." During the course of the show, as I rode the elevator, people would pick up the button, tell the button a secret, and then pin the button to me. And so by the end of the show, and what you see at the list center is that suit covered with the buttons that represent all of the different secrets that people told Noman. So one of the things that I think is really interesting about the show at the list right now is that many of the works that were sort of conceived in the midst of the AIDS epidemic in the mid to late 80s are resonating very much in our current COVID saturated time. So the questions about when I feel clean or unclean, what health means, what it means to touch somebody, distance, our paranoia about our own bodies and the bodies of other people, those were all things that were highly present then and have returned.